Attempts of an offensive in the Luhansk region and significant losses in the ranks of the Russian army. Ukrainian servicemen stopped the Russian occupiers near Bilohorivka. However, the enemy shelled the village using Grad multiple-launch rocket system.
The occupiers are aimed at assault in Bakhmut, therefore they are staging terror in the settlements located on the outskirts of the city. In the past 24 hours, the Russian occupiers carried out 7 missile attacks, 3 mortar attacks, 2 attacks with the use of barrel artillery, and 2 more attacks with the support of rocket artillery on the border of the regions. Serhiy Haidai, head of the Luhansk Regional Military Administration.
2 people were killed as a result of the Russian army shelling of Sloviansk. An enemy shell hit a private house. The building was almost completely destroyed. 2 men could not get out from under the rubble. Russian troops also hit the center of Kramatorsk. Fires broke out in residential apartment buildings that were at the epicenter of the strike. According to preliminary information, 1 person was killed. 5 more were wounded.
Russia kills civilians. On July the 19th, the Russian occupiers killed 5 Donbas civilians, 2 in Krasnopilya, 1 in Kramatorsk, 1 in Soledar, and 1 in Avdiivka. 16 more people were wounded. The exact number of casualties in Mariupol and Volnovakha cannot be determined at this time. Pavlo Kyrylenko, head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration.
The shelling also continues in the Mykolaiv region. Russian troops hit the settlements using 152mm artillery from the temporarily occupied Kherson region. The shells hit the areas of cannery. Also, several enemy shells hit a field on the outskirts of one of the villages. A curfew is planned to be declared in the regional center for several days.
This is planned in the near future, in a week or 2, just when the cleanup is over and when we worked out all the data as much as possible. The city will be closed for a day or 2. We will inform the military about this in advance, so people can buy food and water and plan their actions. And we will work out the addresses, which we will just analyze.
More than 30 shells were fired at Nikopol by Russian troops that night. 3 private houses were completely destroyed and about 10 were damaged. 2 people were killed and 9 more were wounded.
They deliberately fired Grad multiple launch rocket systems at a residential neighborhood in Nikopol. More than 30 missiles were fired. Preliminary, 2 people were killed and 9 more were wounded. 6 of the wounded are in hospital, including 4 children. The youngest of the wounded was only 3 years old. The 3-year-old child was sleeping at home when Russian occupiers hit him with Grad MLRS. Valentin Reznichenko, head of the Dnipropetrovsk Regional Military Administration.
The morning of July 20th in Kharkiv also began with shelling. Russian troops fired Uragan multiple-launch rocket systems. There are wounded and killed.
Unfortunately, as a result of this morning's shelling of the Saltivsky district of Kharkiv by the Russian occupiers, 3 people were killed, including a 13-year-old boy, a man and a woman. A 72-year-old woman was wounded. Alexei Nyhubov, head of the Kharkiv Regional Military Administration.
Russian troops shelled the border areas and settlements of the Sumy region 9 times over the past 24 hours. They used various types of weapons. A total of about 80 arrivals were recorded.
Bilopilya community. There was mortar shelling at 11 AM and after 12 PM. Also, the enemy fired self-propelled artillery at about 1 PM. The mortar shelling continued at 7 PM. Novoslobiska community. The enemy shelled the area with barrel artillery. Esmanska community. After 5 PM there were 13 explosions and shelling continued after 7 PM. Dmitro Zhivitsky, head of the Sumy Regional Military Administration.
Already 38,750 soldiers have been lost by the Russian army since the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Ukrainian servicemen have destroyed 1,700 enemy tanks and hit nearly 4,000 armored fighting vehicles. Air Force anti-aircraft missile forces shot down a Russian fighter jet near Nova Kakhovka the day before.
Trying to counter the air attacks of the armed forces of Ukraine, the Russian Su-35 fighter jet fired 3 air-to-air missiles at Ukrainian aircraft. No casualties were suffered by us. Anti-aircraft missile units of the armed forces shot down the enemy plane and it did not cause any damage. The pilot ejected and the plane crashed in the temporarily occupied territory of the Kherson region. 2 Russian Ki-A-52 helicopters tried to attack the Ukrainian military, in the Bilohorivka, but there were no casualties. In response, Ukrainian helicopters attacked a cluster of weapons and equipment in the area of Kherson and Olhine. As a result, a Russian mortar battery was partially destroyed.
Reported by Roman Smoler, Ksenia Buhai, Mariana Krejcet, UATV News.